Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 415. Good morning from a very tired James. I did not go to bed till, oh man, I did it again. Okay, about 12:30, 12:45. Man, I watched that entire UFC fight last night. That was awesome. It's been a while. I mean, other than watching the Smashing Machine on HBO with about Mark Kerr, but he started with Pride Fighting and UFC. They man, that was really good, very good cards last night. I can say right now, Nicole Wallace, is that her name? She can go suck a raw egg right now. I don't care. We were just watching something on Vince a while ago. He was playing in an interview. What she was just condemning the president and everything UFC and everything America on her little news broadcast she was doing yesterday, and she go suck an egg. Man, I hate people who do stuff like that. Man, it's just ruining it for everyone. That whole fight. That matter of fact, the main event fight last night. I can't even pronounce his name, but he won by knockout, and it was almost a knockout. I think they considered a knockout, but he capitulated in the corner at the end of the fourth round because he got pummeled. And they should have stopped it the round before, but he got pummeled bad. They let him go for 5 more minutes. He sat down, and as soon as he sat down in the stool at the end of the fourth round, they called it. It was good. It was really, really good. Dana White, thank you for doing that. The only thing I wish UFC and Paramount Plus would have released their agreement just for last night and show it on national TV so everybody could watch it. I know it started, when we got home from church. I think the fight started right about 8 o'clock, and it went 5 hours. That's a lot of broadcast time. I mean, maybe that's probably why they didn't put it on there, but that was really good. And this one Brazilian guy named is Horatio Ruffy. He gave a public testimony for his faith in Jesus last night. After he won, he quoted all of John 3:16, and man, that was awesome. I mean, everyone that was on pay-per-view had no choice but to hear it. That was a good thing. Yep. And then he turned around and asked his girlfriend to marry him, and she said yes. So Horatio Ruffy did a great thing last night. Two great things. Now, the other thing I want to show you, because my wife is going to want these back. I stole her shoes. No, but if you remember me on Thursday and Friday talking about my wife going to a quilting retreat in Pretty, Texas, right? And that she was quilting shoes. This is what she did. I mean, look at this. Look at the quality on this. All they did was they ordered the soles. They can't make the soles because they're made of rubber, right? But they embroidered these things. They didn't embroider the shoelaces either. Come on, regardless, right? Get real, people. But man, look at this. This is awesome, man. My wife made this along with 6 other women. Made a pair of quilted shoes for each one of them. That is cool. So if you ever know if your husband or your wife ever tell you that they're going to quilt a pair of shoes, believe them, because that was, man, look at this. I mean, I'll show you a closer look at the quality. She did all of that. That's pretty neat. That's really good. Hats off to her, because I don't think I could actually do something like that. Wow. But yeah, so welcome to the program. Hey, get you some caffeine. I got some iced tea in here. Already had some hot chocolate. I'm trying to persevere, make this thing go. Remember, stick with me at the end of the program. Dan Bongino is off today. He was in D.C. at the UFC fight last night. So he ain't here. All right. And let's go. Welcome to the podcast. If you're not already a follower of the JP8 report, go to that little bell and then click the bell, scroll down, and you'll see follow. Click that follow button. And then right next to it is that like button, the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And then chat with us. Nobody's in the chat yet. Okay, that's all right. That's right. I'm wearing my Rumble shirt this morning. Rumble was one of the sponsors for the UFC Freedom 250 fight last night. Man, I'm still stoked about that. That was awesome. Even though I'm tired, after this show, I think I'm going to eat some breakfast and take a nap. Because I think I deserved it. All right, so here we go. America 250. This day in American history, Delaware. This is called Delaware Separation Day. That's when Delaware declared its separation from the British Crown and all of its authority, and from Pennsylvania. If you did not know that Delaware was a province of the colony of Pennsylvania until today, that's when it separated and became its own colony. That's how we got 13 colonies, right? And then the same thing happened in New Hampshire. New Hampshire disregarded all authority from the British Crown also. But yeah, the big thing is Delaware. This is Delaware Separation Day. Even with Joe Biden living there, who cares? But we're talking about the American Revolution here. All right. So next, we're gonna have to go hot and heavy today because it's already 8 after. I talked about the UFC, and I'm still going to talk about the UFC. And we got to talk about Iran also. All right. Next is Armament Shop. Can't forget about these guys. Jay Stevens would kill me. The Armament Shop, whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professionals cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes, both online and in person. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call 254-560-2023, or visit them at www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety, our priority. All right, ready. Thank y'all for that. Let's go. So, the Iran update. The first thing I want to show you, this came out about the Iran update yesterday from the president, 3 different ones. We'll start at the very bottom and work our way up. And see from President Victoria Coates of the Heritage Foundation is absolutely fantastic. She gets it like no others do. Thank you, Victoria. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and the Strait of Hormuz will be opening up for business very shortly. President DJT. Then he responded again. The deal with the Islamic Republic is now complete. Congratulations to all. I hereby authorize the toll-free opening for the Strait of Hormuz, and the simultaneous herewith authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade. Ships of the world, start your engines. Let the oil flow. Almost named the podcast, Let the Oil Flow. Donald J. Trump. And then the last one, this great deal will bring peace and security to the whole region. Many presidents have tried to make peace with Iran, and all have failed before me. The leaders of the region have, for the first time, found a president upon the signing of the deal to help me achieve peace with the opening of the Strait upon signing the deal on Friday. For purposes of mine removal, oil will flow on both ends again for the region and the world. President Donald J. Trump. Those came out yesterday afternoon. All right. Very, very true. And the rest of it is oil is down sharply. I'm going to give updated oil numbers in just a second because they went down again ever since I wrote these down an hour ago. Trump announces a peace pact with Iran. Iran's Security Council confirms the peace agreement with the United States, and it will be signed Friday, June 19th in Geneva, Switzerland. More talks will take place this week in Doha, Qatar. The Strait of Hormuz will be opened, the blockade is over, and there will be no nukes for Iran itself at all. Now, between Israel and Hezbollah, that is supposed to cease. They're still shooting at each other. Matter of fact, one good thing about the shooting at each other is Israel took out an Iraqi compatriot that was responsible for killing American soldiers back when we were still fighting. So what had happened in 2012, I learned this just a little while ago, Autopin, Joe Biden tried to prevent the Iraqis from deporting this guy to Lebanon, but the Iraqis still did it because nobody listened to Democrats. Yeah, so he's been harboring in Lebanon since for like the last 14 years, and Israel found him and iced him yesterday. I have no problem with that one right there. The needless killing of civilians because they live in areas that Hezbollah occupy, that's pushing it. That's pushing it. They just need to stop shooting each other. All right, so let me go over to the oil prices real quick before we get really hot and heavy in here. Refresh just to be safe. Okay, so now I'd written down 80.44 for West Texas Intermediate. It's $80.31 a barrel, and Brent crude oil is $83.11. Not much of a change, but they have dropped almost $4.50 a barrel, both of them. And the stock market on Friday closed at 51,202.26. It was up 353.51 points. Tremendous stuff there going on. Stock market opens up in 15 minutes. I might, I got to scratch my leg. I hate that when that happens. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why I did that. All right, so here we go. JP8 report. A little bit more in detail. I don't need that. This is about the peace agreement. I printed this out late last night. It's pretty accurate. President Donald Trump announced Sunday that the United States and Iran, happy birthday, President Trump. Yesterday was his 80th birthday. He spent the day with the UFC event, and then, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Man, okay, never mind. But it's still, happy birthday yesterday to President Trump, 80 years old. A lot better than that President Autopin. President Donald Trump announced Sunday that the United States and Iran have officially reached a peace agreement, marking a major diplomatic breakthrough that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. The deal with the Islamic Republic is now complete. I just read that. Congratulations to all. I hereby fully authorize the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and simultaneously herewith authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade. Ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. And then Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, whose country served as a mediator, was the first to announce the peace deal, saying, A signing ceremony would take place on Friday in Switzerland. And Geneva is going all over the place for this. So it's pretty much going to be in Geneva. Trump said that the strait will reopen once the parties will formally sign the agreement. With the opening of the strait and the signing of the deal on Friday, the purposes of mine removal, oil will flow both ends again for the region and the world. According to Sharif, the deal includes termination of military operations across the region, including in Lebanon, where Iran-backed terrorist proxy Hezbollah has been engaged in conflict with Israel. Both sides have declared an immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. I guess the Hezbollah didn't count that one, or the Israeli military. Additionally, details of the agreement include any provisions related to the nuclear program were not immediately released. Iran's deputy foreign minister said talks with the U.S. On a final, more comprehensive agreement will take place during the next 60 days during the ceasefire. The outlet reported that the future of Iran's nuclear program will be addressed in upcoming negotiations. Trump has long maintained Iran cannot be in possession of a nuclear weapon and has repeatedly vowed to prevent Iran from developing, acquiring, or obtaining one. And then Trump further praises his administration on the agreement. Sharif also thanked the United States and Iran for their commitment to find a diplomatic solution to a conflict, as well as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey also. All right. So it's a waiting game till Friday. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it carries on and this all ends. The big thing is Hezbollah, Hamas, and Israel, that needs to cease also. All right. Next, election time in the United States. Tomorrow is primary runoff day in Georgia. Burt Jones, endorsed by President Trump for governor, vote for him. And then Mike Collins, the president reiterated that he endorsed him for the U.S. Senate also. President Trump endorsed Mike Collins for Senate in Georgia. Trump called a very successful businessman and a fighter for the First American agenda. Mike, who like me is all about America First, is running against a radical left Democrat named John Ossoff, a weak and pathetic senator who tried to raise taxes by over $4 trillion. Very true. As President Autopin. They tried and failed. Our tax cuts, including he opposed our tax cuts, including no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. He wrote that on True Social, which is true. He voted against President Trump's tax package. Ossoff voted for men and women's sports, transgender for everyone, open borders, record high taxes that under crooked Joe Biden destroyed the American economy, including 401ks and market numbers, which are now at the highest point ever, like 51,202. Trump tore into Ossoff's stance on legal immigration issues. He's an open border advocate, wanting criminals of every variety, including 11,888 murderers, to pour into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. We are the opposite, he wrote. I created the strongest border in history. Congressman Mike Collins backed me up all the way. John Ossoff wants to abolish our borders, stop deporting criminal aliens and criminal illegal aliens, and supports dangerous, soft on crime policies like cashless bail and let repeat violent criminals roam free in our streets. Governor Brian Kemp has been campaigning with Collins' GOP primary opponent, Derek Dooley, and the election is June 16th tomorrow. Derek Dooley came from Tennessee, soon enough to reestablish his residency, and then he ran for the Senate. Mike Collins is a Georgian. He's still a Georgian. He's always been a Georgian. Vote for him tomorrow. Also, there's elections all over the state of Oklahoma tomorrow. Also, the great T.W. Shannon. He used, just like Mark Wayne Mullenby with the Cherokee Nation. T.W. Shannon was the president of the Cherokee Nation, and he was the Speaker of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. He's running for to be Lieutenant Governor. Please give him your vote, okay? Just like Burt Jones, and he's running for governor in Georgia. Give him your vote also. On Friday, Tulsi Gabbard, she's OD&I. She's already submitted her resignation for the end of this month. Friday, she declassified more information. How we federally funded 120 biolabs in 30 different countries. Tax dollars, that is. Hold on just a second. Now, Tulsi Gabbard announced Friday that she is releasing never-before-seen documents concerning the U.S. government funding 120 biolabs in 30 countries. Some were BSL-4s, okay, including Ukraine, in support of President Trump's EO in ending federal funding for dangerous gain-of-function research around the world and increased transparency and accountability. OD&I will continue working with partners across the administration to identify where those labs are, what pathogens they contain, and what research was being conducted. In Friday's announcement, Gabbard said that the intelligence community, that would be the IC, had previously warned that a biolab funded by the U.S. existed in Ukraine and likely contained dangerous pathogens. As the war with Russia continues, those labs are vulnerable to Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Many of the 120 labs, that'd be 120, okay, engaged in research involving highly contagious pathogens and gain-of-function research with little oversight, according to OD&I release. Despite the obvious potential of catastrophic global impact, research on dangerous pathogens and biolabs can have politicians, so-called health professionals like Dr. Anthony Fauci, and entities within the Biden administration's national security team lied to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported biolabs and threatened those who attempt to expose the truth, Gabbard said in a statement. This is from her office. I showed this a little while ago, right? For immediate release, declassified memos and stuff. There, if you go to www.odni.gov, matter of fact, give me a second here. I'm going to put that web link here. odni.gov. There we go. Look it up. It's there. Okay? I'm not playing games. Oh, good. COVID for Life is back. Welcome back there, Ricky. I'm talking about Tulsi Gabbard and gain-of-function research on 120 biolabs that were federally funded that are overseas in 30 different countries. After months of searching through the IC holding files, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is revealing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding in 120 labs in 30 countries. These labs include labs in Ukraine, which may be at risk of compromise due to the Russo Ukrainian war. For example, the IC previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to long-standing threats of Russian attack, seizure, of damage. Here's the link. I put the link in the comment section. Y'all can comment. Y'all can like. Please do so. Until now, evidence regarding full existence and funding of these laboratories have been knowingly withheld from the American people. The information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs have been intentionally covered up by the powerful people falsely, claiming that they do not exist, and anyone accusing anyone who says otherwise of being foreign assets and traitors to America. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, in some cases to include dangerous gain-of-function research for very little visibility and oversight. And President Trump understands the serious threat of these dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. That is why he took decisive action on May 25th last year, signing EO 14292 to end federal funding on gain of research around the world. Dr. Fauci's in these documents. If you go to that odni.gov, there's a PDF in there, and it goes well, and it's about 20% redacted, but it's still there. All right. Wow. All right. So where are we at? We're 30 minutes in. I'm going to remind everyone, click that like button for the show today. Click that like button, the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And then if you go to that little bell, click it, go down to the bottom, click follow. You'll be a follower of the JP8 report. I really appreciate that. All right. Next, UFC Freedom 250. That was really cool. The president celebrated his 80th birthday, and they had a UFC fight at the White House to kick off the semi-quincentennial celebration of the United States. No matter what the bleeding heart liberals and TDS people have to say about it, especially, like I said, Nicole, I think her name is Nicole Wallace. She's a liberal. She was a fake Republican and became a liberal. And all she had to do was condemn this UFC fight. I give it a few days, and I bet the South grounds of the White House look like they should. All right. All right. So this is from Just the News. I printed this off about 15 minutes before I came in, so I didn't even get to review it. President Donald Trump celebrated his 80th birthday in style Sunday night, securing a peace deal with Iran and then kicking off America's 250th anniversary, that would be semi-quincentennial, celebration by hosting a UFC mixed martial arts cage match at the White House South Lawn. Trump sat ringside with his wife Melania, UFC founder Dana White, as some of the league's best fighters scored knockouts in a sultry but breezy night in the nation's capital. They were calling for rainstorms, and they didn't get it, which was good. Bo Nickel knocked out Kyle Dawkins in the second fight. Nickel went over to Trump and kneeled down and chaffed briefly. That was a really cool fight. And he said, I got to thank President Trump for making this happen. Fighter Bo Nickel told the crowd after he knocked out rival Kyle Dawkins. Nickel, like many of the night's winners, briefly greeted 47th president after their victories. More than 4,000 people encircled the ring and chanted USA, USA while applauding large contingent of active duty service members who the president invited to the event. War Secretary Pete Hegseth jumped into the stands and greeted service members posing for pictures and bumped fists with before the fighting began. Other luminaries in the crowd included Speaker Mike Johnson, podcaster Joe Rogan, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, and Agricultural Secretary from Stephenville, Texas, Brooke Rollins. I mean, this was great. Every fighter that came out of the White House to go fight was escorted on their right by a Medal of Honor recipient, and then on their left, a law enforcement officer, all the way to the ring, right? And some of the fighters, like Navy Captain Royce Williams, he's the one he just received the Medal of Honor. Matter of fact, I think the president awarded it to him during the State of the Union, where he was in an aerial engagement with Soviet MiG fighters over Korea and knocked down 4 fighters, or I think it was, and they classified the event because they didn't want the American public to know that we were engaged against the Russians in Korea. And they declassified it in the mid-'80s, and he was awarded the Medal of Honor just about 2 or 3 months ago, right? Awesome stuff. All right. And did I say Nicole Wallace could go suck an egg for her reporting about the UFC event? If I didn't, I did. So, hey, hats off to her. Go suck an egg. You fake rhino, you. All right, next. And happy birthday to the President of the United States. He deserved it. All right, let me get back here. All right, Katie Britt. Senator Katie Britt said Republicans, she's the senator from Alabama, she said the Republicans are prepared to pursue a third budget reconciliation event. In the event the Democrats do not want to go along with Republicans and fund the military. All right, they will go and they will succeed. Arguing lawmakers cannot allow national security, border enforcement, and military priorities to stall amid partisan gridlock. Britt said Republicans would prefer to move through the regular appropriations process and accused Democrats of obstruction at every single turn. She said that on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, adding that they are absolutely unwilling to work with Republicans in any way, shape, or form. Their hate for President Trump clouds our vision, she said. They are putting that in front of the safety and security of the American people. She praised Trump's military accomplishments and said Republicans would do what it takes to ensure the military has sufficient funding if it comes to Reconciliation 3.0. What are y'all's feelings about doing a third reconciliation bill to backfill the amount of money we spent on munitions and pay during these conflicts in Venezuela and the Middle East? Put something in the comments or in the live chat, so give people an idea of what's going on. All right, I think there should be, if the Congress can't get funding for a supplemental bill for the Pentagon, they need to go back and do a reconciliation bill and add money to the Defense Department. All right. She said that the GOP is weighing multiple options if Democrats don't come to the table, according to Britt, including another reconciliation package, shutdown slated legislation and bills aimed at preventing future shutdowns. Everything will be on the table because failure is not an option. She's an awesome senator. MAGA all the way. Next. President is going to meet Macron for dinner after the G7. President Donald Trump is expected to cap off next week's Group of 7 summit France with a formal dinner hosted by Emmanuel Macron. He's the president of France at the historic Palace of Versailles, according to announcements from both governments. Going to a state dinner. You know, the Versailles is where the treaty was signed that ended the American Revolution. All right, in 1783. The meeting comes after world leaders gathered in a resort town of Evian-les-Bains to discussions on major international issues. Trump also anticipated to take part in a series of bilateral meetings during the summit, with U.S. officials indicating ongoing efforts to address Iran's conflict to be a main topic. And discussions expected to include conversations with leaders from Egypt, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. I would say this, and I said it earlier, it is mysterious and surprising that since the U.S. won this battle against Iran, all of a sudden England and France want to join in the victory celebration. I don't get it. I don't get it. Do they think people are that naive and stupid? Well, if they follow a donkey, yes. Okay. But, man. All right. We'll go to this one right here. We're going fast because it's already 8:38, people. All right. Whew. Get a drink here. Don't forget to click that like button and the follow button, please. All right. In Texas, from June 11th, y'all heard me reporting this for the last 2 weeks. In Texas, we had our GOP state convention in Houston this last week from the 11th through the 13th. On Friday the 12th, not Friday 13th, Friday the 12th, we selected a new GOP chair. It's our new one. We get a new one every 2 years, people. That's that. We haven't figured out how to keep someone in there. We keep firing people. But this lady is good. She's just as good as Abraham George that just vacated his position because he got unelected. The Republican Party will have new leadership after delegates selected Dorinda Randall as party chair and David Covey as vice chair during the Senate District Caucus meetings Friday at the state convention. So she defeated Chairman Abraham George, whom she had served as vice chair. Under Texas law, the party's chair and the vice chair must be of opposite genders. And since Randall was elected chair, David Covey was elected as vice chair. Another very good selection. The leadership elections came as thousands of delegates gathered in Houston to adopt the party platform, select legislative priorities, and chart the party's course ahead of the 2026 general election and the 27 legislative session. Following the vote, George issued a statement congratulating the incoming leadership team and calling for party unity, which there still isn't because I was reading on Facebook, you had the same people eviscerating Chairman George, in which he didn't need that. He did the best he could with the tools he had. But Mr. George said, I want to congratulate Duranda Randall, and David Covey on their nomination as chair and vice chair of the Texas GOP. While this race has come to an end, our mission continues. Now is the time to come together and unite behind our Republican nominees. Supporting the entire Republican ticket in November, advance our legislative priorities in the next session, and continue standing firm for the conservative principles outlined in our platform. I'm grateful for to everyone who supported our campaign, and I remain committed to serving our party and fighting for the values to make Texas strong. And then Randall takes over leadership of the state party as Republicans prepare for a high-profile election that will include statewide races and closely watch U.S. Senate contests. All right. So this infighting has got to end with this. We're getting a new GOP chair every 2 years, because now we got Miss Randall. We had Mr. Abraham George before that. We had Matt Rinaldi before that. We had Steve Munisseri before that. We had Alan West before that. We had James Dickey before that. And what do they have in common? 2-year terms, except for Alan West. Alan West, he resigned to run for governor in 2022, I believe. 2022. But other than that, everything, we've been getting a new one every 2 years, and too much going on. So this is my suggestion. I mean, since the governor reiterated we will have close primaries, toss the state chairmanship out to be elected by Republican voters instead of selected by the SREC. I mean, that would be my suggestion, because instead of having 64 people vote for it, have 62 people vote for it, have the state of Texas registered Republicans vote for the state party chair. I mean, I'm elected. I'm a precinct chair. I'm precinct chair 104 for the state of Texas, right, in Coryell County. Matter of fact, since today's the 15th, my term of office started up again. My new term of office. Same thing with my party chair for our county, Norm Mitchell. His started today also. The state GOP and the vice chair need to be elected by the Republicans of the state. And I think that's the only way we're going to go about fixing that problem of quick turnover and stuff, okay? That being said, let's go on. It's 8:43, and I am not going to get through this. Let's talk about our rhino, since we're talking about Texas. John Cornyn, okay? John Cornyn got defeated in the primary by Ken Paxton, and he said it was all hunky-dory, he supports the nominee, and he went and met with the president. Then he discovered the New York Times. I think it was the New York Times. Republican Texas Senator John Cornyn said that his loss to Trump-endorsed Attorney General Ken Paxton grants his political freedom he wouldn't have had it if his campaign had been successful. Now he can choose when he does and does not defer to the President Donald Trump. See? True colors come out. He said, I think it is going to be a pretty bumpy ride for the next several months. For the next 7 months, Cornyn told the New York Times. Cornyn referred to Trump's tense meeting in the Oval Office, in which Trump told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that he didn't have any cards. Well, we got some cards, Cornyn said in the interview. Cornyn said he doesn't seek retribution, but is among other Senate Republicans who believe that Trump is hurting the party to make self-serving decisions and demanding unwavering loyalty. This setting Republicans set up for serious losses in the midterms, Cornyn said, which would make the next 2 years following the election the worst in Trump's lifetime. Well, Mr. Senator, in name only, if you would have supported the president from the get-go, you wouldn't be in the predicament you are now. If you wouldn't have voted against the Second Amendment back in during Otto Penn's presidency, you wouldn't be in the predicament you are in now. My suggestion to you, Mr. Senator, is to sit down in your chair, vote yes for the president, and support Ken Paxton in his candidacy against Telefrico, and get him elected. Okay, get Ken Paxton elected. Stop the stupid nonsense. I guess you didn't go to the convention this weekend where they preach party unity. Spencer Pratt. Let's keep talking about elections. Spencer Pratt, what time was that? 8:47. Okay. Los Angeles mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt posted a fear video on social media teasing his plans for phase 3 effort to clean up the city and teasing information that he could force one of the candidates still in the race to resign if elected. So he conceded the election. And there's no way he can win. Now they're going to have Democrat versus Democrat. That's all they want, right? He said, I'm moving on to the next more interesting phase. Listen, I spent a lot of time slaying everybody. I've ridiculed everybody, everyone on the roster. Pratt posted on Instagram. Evidently, he's got something that's really, really bad against one of the candidates, Karen Bass and Ninya Rahman. And he said he's not going to name their name, but he's got damaged goods on one of them that will cause them to resign if they get elected, and that he's going to release it in due time. I mean, yeah, I know that sounds like blackmail, but it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. Yeah, okay, we'll leave it there. But he lost. They got to reform their election stuff. Mark Wayne Mullen, the Secretary of Homeland Security, said that they are going to, if they want to, they can put immigration enforcement officers at polling locations that verify citizenship status, because we only want Americans voting, right? He said we're going to make sure that the Constitution is upheld, meaning only citizens of the United States are voting. Mullins said to Casey Hunt on CNN's State of the Union. He's right. It's everything about the integrity of the election. That's what he was saying, quote unquote, right? If we don't have integrity in our election, people will disagree with any results that come out, and then you'll have anarchy in him. That's why you have to make sure you have simple elections, straightforward elections that are counted on election day. And that's what they're trying to ensue. Hold on just a second. Give me a second here. I want to check for something here. Reload. Right now, the stock market is up 545 points. It just opened 20 minutes ago. Stock market is already up that far. Let's see one other thing. Earl, that is. Did he go down any further? Nope, still the same. Okay. Go back. All right. So we'll go in there. Senator Collins up in Maine. I know she's one of those rhinos, but she's doing her best for the state of Maine. She's going up against Oyster Boy, Graham Plattner. She said that when she was 10 years old, like several other children in Caribou, Maine, she left school to pick potatoes fields to aid farmers with the deep harvest of potato country in Aroostook County, Dubby County by locals. I remember my mother saying to me when I was going to pick for the first time at age 10, saying, "Now, Susan, this is really hard, backbreaking, but you cannot quit. The farmers are depending on you, and and you cannot let them down. And she said, and those words have always stayed with me. It's that work ethic from her hometown in Caribou, molded by her parents' separate tents as mayor of so she's a political family, and of the small town, that country that helped shape her into the political titan she is today, propelling more than 10,000 continuous straight votes. And she's chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. It also caused her to have a biggest target on her back by Chuck E. Schumer. That's still a big target. Collins' race has become most watched and controversial as a cycle of her unlikely opponent, Oyster Boy, Graham Plattner, who over the last several months has been rocked by scandal after scandal, and I'll say after scandal after scandal. She's a hard worker. I mean, she picked potatoes at age 10. What did he do? His wealthy parents financed him in private school and financed his way through private college. And he came back and joined the Marine Corps, got hurt, and started an oyster farming business. Yeah, okay. Germany was 852. Okay. Wow. Hold on just a second here. All right. Okay, so Germany. We all know we've had our problem with Germany in the last few years with NATO and stuff, right? About funding, building their military up and stuff like that, because they've been static in the way they've been wanting to do things for several years, right? Well, their chancellor came out this weekend, and this is about the NATO alliance. Germany is pledging to become a more powerful military force inside NATO. The Berlin's ambassador to Washington is telling Fox News Digital that the country is ready to assume greater responsibility for European security after decades in which the United States carried on much of the alliance's military burden. Germany is stepping up. We heard the call. German ambassador to U.S. John Hansfeld told Fox News. Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that Germany's armed forces should become the strongest conventional army in Europe, a goal Hansfeld is now backed by Berlin's new military strategy. He said, Russia's illegal war of aggression has shaken old certainties in Europe and Germany as international rules we have relied on has been challenged. Hansfeld said, the changes are strategic we operate in. Today, Germany is Ukraine's largest supporter. Germany's decision to become Europe's strongest conventional army has anchored to the NATO alliance is an ongoing commitment. Okay. I got a little bit of time on this one. I don't trust that statement at all, because I don't trust the German government at all. After what Germany did in World War I and World War II, I do not trust a strong German military in Europe at all. And they want to be the dominant military force in Europe. I do not agree with that, not one bit. It should be France, it should be England, Poland, it should not be Germany. Because we already fought 2 world wars because of German pride. It cost millions and millions of people. They think they are the best. They're like any other European. They don't need to think like that. They don't need to act like that. They need to be self-defense forces and not offensive forces. We cannot trust the German military to act without repercussions, I think is what you would say. Well, I I don't really know. Too much has happened in the 20th century with the German military being stronger than other militaries in Europe. It does not need to happen at all. Totally. Not one bit. Um, you can think like that if you want, but at the same time, it was talking about Ukraine also. In World War II, Ukraine fought on the side of Germany against the Russians. You wonder why the Ukrainians and the Russians are going at it so hard, and the hatred between the two is because what Ukraine did to Russia, and then what Russia did to the Ukraine after they marched back over the Ukraine at the end of World War II when they broke out of Stalingrad and marched away across Ukraine into Central Europe, right, and to conquer the Germans toward the end of World War II. I don't trust the Germans at all. All right. Um, let's see, 857. I'm not even going to touch this one. I was going to talk about Jane Fonda. They had a No Kings protest in Lafayette Park on the north side of the White House yesterday. Um, yeah, they were ridiculing the Freedom 250 fight. Stupid, stupid. They can't. Please be patriotic, especially around the 250th anniversary of our country. Um, So on the 18th of June, which is 3 days from now, on Thursday, we have Pints and Politics in Killeen at 6 p.m. at Area 254. That's off of Fort Hood Street. You go north on 4th Street underneath I-14, take a left in the parking area where you have a gym over there now. You used to have Con Appliances and you used to have Kmart over there, right? So that's where it is. It's at 6 p.m. And then on the 30th of June, we have Coryell County Republican Party. We have an organizational meeting on the 30th at the Trinity Worship Center, where we select our well, we already got a chair, our vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, all right? And then go over and approve bylaws. Really important event. All right, 8:59. All right, so California, their system, much room to be, yeah, much room to cheat in California. Yeah, that's why they need to get rid of that jungle primary, and hopefully the Supreme Court will overrule the election day +1, +2, +3 to infinity and beyond. Okay, but that's the JP8 report for the day. There's no Dan Bongino show today because he's on his way back from DC because he got to see an awesome fight yesterday or last night. But so thank y'all very much for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We had wow, I didn't even do an ad read. I got 12 people online right now. You know what? Do y'all want me to do one? I'll do an ad for Rumble Premium real quick for everybody. All right. Okay, you probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind uh, behind the scenes drops, and more from your important. I think I just dropped my feed. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off your annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code studio at the checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code studio. No ads, more freedom, and content you can actually care about. That's the deal. All right. Thank you all very much for letting me put that. And that's today's show. So I'm going to show my in slide. You can find me on X, on Facebook, on ScrewTube, and on True Social. All right. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, 6:30 Central for JP's morning. Don't forget, if you live in Oklahoma or Georgia tomorrow, go vote. All right. And then I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.